Welcome everyone, and welcome to this the third time that we organize this networking event. As you can see, you have arrived to a floor where other people are sitting in different tables. This is the presentation mode, and the previous mode was the networking mode. Right now we are going to have our main presentation. Let me first introduce you to a few characteristics of this webinar site and what you should expect from this event today. Again, welcome to this Small LNG launch that we call it. A couple of important things. On the right of your screen, you have a chat, a list of participants, and a Q&A area. Please feel free to ask any question in the Q&A. You can ask anonymously or with your name. And the advantage of this is that people can vote for the questions that happen there, so you can get a decent feedback from us, from me, and from the main presenter that I will introduce in a few minutes. So please feel free to use, again, the Q&A, the chat, and the list of participants. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Eduardo Pérez Orue. I'm the director and owner of Small LNG Shipping Consultants. We are a consultancy in small-scale LNG shipping. We do training, consultancy, and ship brokering. So if you need our services, please contact me. We have a newsletter where you can subscribe there. That is the address, smallng.com/subscribe, where we announce future events, and we have a weekly newsletter with information about the small-scale LNG shipping. So please feel free to subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And now, please grab a cup of coffee, that is on you, and sit comfortably while we have the main presentation. It's going to take about 15-20 minutes. Again, ask any questions on the Q&A. We'll address the questions after HongJun Fan has presented his part. And this event has two parts. You've seen part of it. You've been in the networking mode, and this is the presentation mode. I strongly recommend that you fill up your profile so we can see who you are, we can see your LinkedIn address, and we can see your web page address. It's important when people are looking for other people. If you look at the list of participants on the right, as I said, you can click on my name or on HongJun Fan's name, for instance, and you will see there our LinkedIn profiles, our web pages, and so on. So that is why it's important to fill up the profile. Again, this was the previous mode where we were, the networking mode, and we'll go back to that networking mode in about 20 minutes once we finish the presentation. If you want to become a sponsor of this event, please feel free, contact me, look for me or chat or send me an email afterwards, and I would be happy to discuss with you the different sponsorship opportunities we have. We've organized 3 events. We plan on organizing 1 event a month, roughly. One will be in the morning of Europe, so it addresses Asia, and one will be in the afternoon of Europe, so it addresses America. The next event will be on September 2nd at 5 p.m. European time, so that means very late for Asia and early morning for the US. But please mark in your agenda September the 2nd for the next event and subscribe to our mailing list to get it. The program for today is 50 minutes networking that we just did, a short 50 minutes presentation from our main speaker, and the Q&A. And our main speaker today is HongJun Fan, that will be talking about LNG bunkering pontoons in China. It's an extremely interesting topic. I think you will be surprised at the things that are happening in China that most of us don't know about them. And HongJun Fan is a candidate at the Australian Maritime College. He was a senior engineer in China Classification Society for several years, and he was a regulations developer for LNG as marine fuel and LNG bunkering. Please look at his CV on the screen. He will be joining me now any minute now. So HongJun, could you please switch on your camera and share your presentation? And please help me welcome HongJun to the floor. You can clap. We won't be able to hear you, but you can clap for him. So HongJun, thank you very much.
Thank you, Eduardo.
welcome to this event. I will now disappear, and I will let you present your presentation. So
thank you. I will share my screen. Just a moment. I'm looking for my presentation. I can't share my screen.
this is during live events, so don't panic. Do you find the share screen button?
I found, but I can't find my presentation in the screen. Just wait a moment. I will restart my.
No problem.
I will restart my.
For all the participants, this is the beauty of live events. So at least we are proving that this is not recorded. So it will be recorded also. Okay, I will let you go.
Can you see my slides? Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to present LNG bunkering pontoons on inland waterways in China. And I'd like to kick off my presentation with the question, why do we use LNG bunkering pontoon? I'd like first to introduce the driving force behind the use of LNG as a fuel in inland waters. The use of LNG as a fuel is constantly encouraged in the Ministry of Transport plans dating from 2013, but the high cost and lack of bunkering infrastructure has limited its uptake. And the government now is making other efforts to promote the use of clean energy on the waters, including a coastal ECA and the inland ECAs, including the Yangtze River and the Pearl River, have been established, and a unified diesel specification with the 0.001% sulfur cap for inland vessels has been announced. So compared with the standard diesel, LNG is cheaper. In August 2018, the Ministry of Transport issued a draft timetable for developing LNG bunkering, aiming to formulate standards and a basic network for LNG bunkering by 2020. And until now, the standards have been established, but the so-called basic network for LNG bunkering have not been established because of many reasons. Anyway, we can say that in the future, more and more vessels will switch to LNG. So far, 280 LNG-fueled vessels have been built or retrofitted in inland waterways in China. Of course, compared with the 100,000 vessels in the Yangtze River, this number is tiny, but it's a good start. Recently, the restriction of LNG fueled vessels going through the Three Gorges Dam has been lifted. So that was good news for the ship owners who want to use LNG as a marine fuel. And there are 4 options for LNG bunkering. They are shore-based LNG bunkering station to ship, LNG truck to ship, LNG bunkering vessel to ship, and LNG pontoon to ship. The shore-based LNG bunkering station and LNG trucks are not suitable for the Yangtze River and the Pearl River because the seasonal variation in channel width and the water levels on domestic rivers are significantly. And for LNG bunkering vessel, we can see from the 2 pictures of the left, From the same angle, we can see different season, the water level are different significantly. And for LNG bunkering vessel, because the Yangtze River is the world's most trafficked river, is the most busy river in the world. So the navigation and the bunkering operation of LNG bunkering vessel will bring safety regulatory challenges to the safety administration. So LNG bunkering pontoon is the best option for the Yangtze River and the Pearl River. LNG bunkering pontoon is a barge without self-propulsion and be anchored at a point approved by the Maritime Safety Authority. And let me show you how a pontoon works by animation. During high water period and the low water period, the pontoon will be moved to adjust the width of the channel. And here is the general arrangement of a typical LNG bunkering pontoon. We can see that there is a domination area for the operators on board, for the crew, for the business staff of the gas provider. And here is the LNG storage area. We can see that there are two LNG storage tanks, two LNG storage tanks on board, and the area for LNG bunkering arms. It also has an oil tank to provide oil bunkering to the dual-fuel vessels. And a conservative estimate of the number of LNG-fueled vessels by the end of 2025 will be around 2,800 vessels in the Yangtze River and about 700 in the Pearl River. And the Chinese regulations stipulate that the maximum capacity for LNG bunkering LNG bunkering pontoon is 500 cubic meters. So we need 24 LNG bunkering pontoons in the Yangtze River by the end of 2025 and 5 in the Pearl River by the end of 2025. And until now, we can see from this table, 9 LNG bunkering pontoons have been built in China. And we can see that most of them can provide oil bunker to the dual-fuel LNG-fueled vessels. And the one LNG bunkering pontoon is under construction. Here are some pictures of the LNG bunkering pontoons in the Yangtze River and in the Pearl River. And another question is how to supply LNG to LNG bunkering pontoon. We have two options. One is from the shore side, and the other is from the river side. Until now, only LNG trailers are available because there's no small-scale LNG carriers in the Yangtze River and in the Pearl River. And how much LNG bunkering pontoon cost? This table shows an example. For this project, the total cost is around 5.7 million US dollars, and how account for 43%, and LNG tanks, MO Type C tanks account for 15%, and LNG bunkering system account for 11%, and the bunkering arms 12%, safety and the monitoring system 10%, and labor around 8%. According to statistics, the cost of LNG bunkering pontoon, the cost range is around 5 to 9 million US dollars. And the cost has been further optimized based on equipment improvement. like LNG bunkering arm. Traditional LNG bunkering arm cost around 0.7 million US dollars, and the lightweight LNG bunkering arm has been developed. It's just a crane and a horse. It's combination of crane and a horse. It just cost 0.3 million US dollars. And safety regulations and the guidelines of pontoon to ship LNG bunkering operations have been issued by the Ministry of Transport and the China Maritime Safety Administration. I'd like to show you a short video to show how a LNG bunkering pontoon work. This project is located in the Yangtze River in Jiangsu province. You can see from this map, the location is here. It's in a very good position for the bunkering operation. Here's the video. You can see that this is the LNG field vessel. This bridge is for the pipelines to supply LNG from the shore side. There are two LNG storage tanks. Each of them is 250 cubic meters. It's vacuum isolated tank. And there are two LNG bunkering arms. The yellow one is for vapor return. The white one is for liquid bunkering. And here is a gas dispenser. We can see the gas price and the gas flow rate and departure of the LNG fuel vessels. It's just a short video. And finally, a summary. The Ministry of Transport issued plans to build LNG bunkering facility along the Yangtze River, and some province has issued guidelines, and other provinces, including Hunan, Hubei, Chongqing, Zhejiang, and Guangdong, are also working on specific layouts for LNG bunkering stations. And it has been proved that LNG bunkering pontoon is the best option for the Yangtze River and the Pearl River. And small-scale LNG carrier are being considered to supply LNG to the LNG bunkering pontoons. Like this picture shows a real project. The CNOOC, which is a state-owned oil and gas company, is planning to build a 6,000 cubic meters small-scale LNG carrier. This carrier will be used to supply LNG to the pontoons in the Yangtze River, and also provide LNG to the small-scale LNG receiving terminals along the Yangtze River. So that's my presentation. Thank you for listening.
I was having problems switching on the microphone. So thank you very much, HongJun. I think it was very good. I hope everybody who is watching liked the presentation and find it as interesting as I did. Remember, you can ask questions on the Q&A on the right of your screen. You have a Q&A where you can vote the questions, and you can ask questions with your name or anonymously. So feel free to ask that one, and we'll go through them right now. Okay, the first one that comes is, what is the distance that a bunker ship covers? Is it always a few miles around her base, or goes long distances? How is it working? The pontoon is staying in a place, or moving a few miles, or you use a barge to travel long distances with the unit?
A pontoon will be anchored at a point. Okay. It cannot be moved to another point, because the point will be get a license from the safety administration. Okay. So it's just fixed there.
Okay, so it has to come a small ship coming to the pontoon, discharging, and Okay. Other plans to build pontoons with propulsion incorporated on them? I guess the answer is no after what you just mentioned.
Yeah, there's no propulsion.
There's no propulsion and will never be. They are not supposed to be moved at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
How foreign ship owners accepting these pontoons? Do they discharge to them? Is there any problem? You mentioned that it was approved for local regulations. Is there any issue with a foreign ship owner say, well, I don't want to discharge to a pontoon, or no issues?
Sorry?
There are no complaints or any issues from foreign ship owners to accept discharging to these pontoons. No, there's no problem, or nobody says, well, I don't want to discharge my product there.
I don't know that.
Okay. Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, it's, we don't know everything, so it's okay. You mentioned that there are 280 LNG fuel vessels in China. Can you elaborate on their concentration? Also, I was under the impression regulations didn't allow for LNG bunkering on the Yangtze River.
Sorry, I can't understand this question.
Yeah, you mentioned that there are 280 fuel ships in LNG fuel ships in China.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on their concentration? Where are they? Are they mostly in the Yangtze, mostly on the Pearl River? Where are most of those ships? Do you know the LNG fuel?
Now the 280 LNG fuel vessels, most of them are in the Beijing to Hangzhou Canal.
Okay.
In the Yangtze River, there are only maybe 10 or 20 or something like that. In the Pearl River, just also 10 or 20 or something like that. Most of them are in the Beijing to Hangzhou Canal.
Okay, and the question also includes, also I was under the impression regulations didn't allow for LNG bunkering on the Yangtze River. Is it allowed, LNG bunkering in the Yangtze? Or?
Of course, there's regulations. Just issued by the Ministry of Transport, I think 1 or 2 months ago, very specific LNG bunkering regulations for LNG bunkering pontoon, LNG truck, and even small-scale LNG carrier in the Yangtze River.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Zachary asked that question. I suggest, Zach, if you want, just look for HongJun Fan afterwards, just to discuss details on that one. That looks like an interesting one. So, why combine oil and LNG? Will be dedicated pontoons to LNG in the future? Most of them use the current one.
Because currently, most LNG fuel vessels, actually, they are dual fueled. So at the same point, they won't get LNG, and also they won't get some diesel. So the LNG bunkering pontoon design an oil tank on board. And for the other consideration that because the chicken egg problem, currently the LNG bunkering market is not so big. So oil bunkering can make the gas provider face not so much risks. You can provide oil bunker. They can get money from oil bunkering.
Okay. Another question: how do you measure the amount of LNG?
I mean during the transfer.
I guess that is the question. Yes. How do you measure the amount of LNG? I guess when you transfer.
Yeah, there's a flow rate meter there. And there's a vapor return measure meter also, so they can, yeah.
Okay. Would it be possible to operate 6,000 cubic meter vessel all around year, considering her draft and the season level variations? I guess they are mentioning that for the river.
Yeah, I understand. The 6,000 cubic meters is a good design for the Yangtze River because in the Yangtze River, there's a lot of bridges there, and the depth of the water limited ship size. So
Yeah.
for 6,000 cubic meters, it can navigate in the Yangtze River all around the year.
Okay, I guess it also depends on the design and on the containment system that you use. I mean, just Type C normally has
This
no
one,
draft.
the 6,000 cubic meters is a Type C design, and another company is designing LNG box. I think you know that. They designed two types of LNG carrier. One they call them they called it Wuhan Max. Another one they called it Wuhu Max. The Wuhan Max is 40,000 cubic meters.
That's right.
And no. The Wuhan Max is 28,000 cubic meters, and the Wuhu size is 40,000 cubic meters.
Okay.
So it's LNG. It's A box. It's not Type C.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, that was in the news lately that they were doing some deals on that one. Yes. Have you considered a less expensive containment solution on the pontoons? So can you see an IMOV tank being used? I guess that.
Yes, the designer have considered this problem. They compared the Type C, B tank, and A tank. They selected the Type C as vacuum insulated because the regulation stipulates that only 500 cubic meters, the maximum capacity of LNG bunkering pontoon is 500 cubic meters. So for this small size storage, Type C is the best choice.
Okay, the cost of pontoon is expensive. Does it make less attractive when compared to LNG bunkering vessel? I'm surprised that someone is saying that it's expensive. I find them extremely cheap.
It's very cheap.
I think it's very, very cheap.
Very cheap, yeah.
I'm surprised, Ryan, that you think that it's expensive. I don't know how can you make them cheaper, but I guess you think it's very cheap, don't you?
Yeah, very cheap. It's the cheapest solution, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Ryan, if you have any insights on how can it be done cheaper, I mean, I would really appreciate if you can talk to us later on this one. So, if Fansen is pursuing a classification as the power plant, what is the difference between LNG bunkering pontoon with just simple FSU? Can you use a pontoon as a FSU, as a floating storage unit?
For a power plant?
Yeah, I mean, for any use, actually. Normally,
use?
an FSU is a sitting unit with storage. I guess the pontoon is very similar to what an FSU is.
Yeah, I know a project in Indonesia. It's in Bali Island. They use FSU and FRU to supply gas to a power plant. Yes, I think a pontoon is a good solution for the gas supply to the power plant, especially in a good sea condition area.
I fully agree. I think it's a great solution. So, if you need to okay, if we need to gasification for power plant 50 megawatts with the small scale LNG on waterways of Indonesia island, any suggestion that can help me? I guess use pontoons and small carriers. You agree with that? Any comment? No, that's okay. No?
I think I've answered this question. I think pontoon. I think pontoon is a good solution for the power plant.
Yeah. Can you please share the presentation to all participants? We will share the presentation and the video. This video, we are recording everything. We are recording only this part, the presentation part, not the individual tables, but all these will be shared in our mailing list. So if you are subscribed to our newsletter, you will receive the video and the presentation probably next week. If you are not subscribed yet, please go to Small LNG/subscribe and subscribe to the newsletter to get the announcements on future events and to get the presentations and so on. So another question: who is the promoter of the project? All the pontoons belong to the same company. Who is the LNG supplier?
Now in Yangtze River, there's a biggest shipping company in the Yangtze River. I think name is the Yangtze River Shipping Company. they set up a joint venture uh, with the Yangtze River Bunker Company, and now this company is the major gas provider. And you mentioned the private companies like ENN and state-owned companies like CNOOC or CNPC. Yes, they are planning to build some bunkering facilities in the Yangtze River, but they have no experience in the Yangtze River. So at this moment, the major provider is the Yangtze River Shipping Company. But I think in the next few years, maybe CNOOC will be play a very important role in the Yangtze River, because the CNOOC is building, I think, 2 or 3 small-scale LNG receiving terminal along the Yangtze River. So in the future,
is there any limitation? Sorry, is there any restrictions for them to enter, or just lack of experience and lack of?
There's no limitation for a Chinese company, but for a foreign company, if you want to go to the Yangtze River to do business, you need to set up a joint venture with the Chinese company.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So this other question is also answered. Do you support LNG to produce hydrogen to develop hydrogen fuel cells?
Right now in China, there are several pilot projects for fuel cell vessels, but the hydrogen is not from LNG. The hydrogen is from some, I think it's from the industry waste hydrogen, and they capture this hydrogen and store this hydrogen and be used in the onboard the ship.
Okay. I can see that the questions keep coming. We will answer a few more, and then we'll go to the floor. HongJun, if you don't mind, once we end this presentation, you can go to the table on the left, the one with small LNG. So you can go there and people can look for you afterwards on that table and ask you questions. But let me go through a few of them. These keep coming, which is great. But just let's continue a little bit. Can these 6,000 cubic meters of LNG vessel be used for road transport?
Road transport? What that mean?
I don't understand why. So Yamil, if you don't mind asking us later, what supporting vessel is expected to assist the bunkering? How about for moving the pontoon based on the water level of the river?
Moving based on water?
Yeah. Do you have barges supporting on?
Yeah, the supporting vessel will be moored side by side of the pontoon and transfer LNG to the pontoon. But
the pontoon obviously moves with the water level.
The pontoon will be not moved, just fixed there.
Okay. What restrictions we have for pontoon LNG?
Restrictions.
I guess draft restrictions depending on the locations. Any other?
Maybe the ship size, because for LNG bunkering pontoon is about 60 meters long, and if a very large LNG fuel vessels can, the mooring may be a problem, maybe a restriction. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In general, where do you think will be the main bunker hubs in China?
I think at this moment, Zhoushan Port is a bunker house because the ENN has built an LNG bunkering terminal there, and they are also building 8,500 LNG bunker vessel. This vessel will be supply LNG bunker in the Zhoushan Port. So I think the Ningbo Zhoushan Port will be the first LNG bunkering hub. And the second one may be the Shanghai Port. Shanghai Port is also developing LNG bunkering plants. And the third one, I think, is Shenzhen port, because CNPC is planning to build a 8,000 cubic meters LNG bunker vessel there. And they also want to maybe charter a small-scale LNG carrier to service as a LNG bunker. So I think that these three ports will be three bunkering hubs in China.
Okay, thank you. We are running out of time, so we are going back to the networking area. Please go to the left table, where the one under Small LNG banner, where HongJun will be waiting for your questions, specific questions on this. We are going to, let me share the rest of the presentation to tell you what to expect from today. So, and after this, we will, let me just give me a second, I have so many things. The program for the rest will be a networking event in which you will be divided into tables. Please visit the sponsor. In this case, we have no sponsors. Feel free to network with the colleagues. Now you are going back to the tables. Feel free to network. We will be here for a little while. Look for people who are interested to you. Chat on the tables. Move to another table by double-clicking on that table whenever you feel like, and look for people who are interested for your business. We are here all to make business connections and to learn about that in the process. So please thank with me. Give up an applause to HongJun, and he cannot hear any of your applauses, but from my side, thank you very much, HongJun.
Thank you.
Really, really good presentation and excellent way of answering the questions. I'm delighted to have you here. So let's go back to the tables and chat. Look for HongJun to clarify more.
Okay.
So,